What the fuck do you think this is? Amateur hour? Hello. Welcome to Hanging Loose. I'm ShankedDG. With me, as always, is
Spiicii boy.
Spiicii boy. And for the second time in a row, this episode is brought to you by Great Lakes Disc.
I think
go
we got
shop
about
there. Use
49 more of those coming at you throughout the course of this year.
yeah. Use code Hanging Loose. Get 10% off. Help us buy discs to give away on the podcast.
I think my next purchase goal is going to be an external, high quality digital webcam. So I just realized this one was on the shittiest quality they offer. And so you are all welcome. Now we've got much better quality, at least 720p. Maybe I look less poor. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
We were waiting for Nico to putt. Or what was that joke?
It's going to be our dead air every time.
Oh,
dead air joke every time. Sorry, waiting for Nico to putt.
Yeah, so I don't know. Not a whole lot's been going on my end. We're getting an assload of snow. Like, we just got that foot. And then we're supposed to get up to another 7 overnight tonight. So
another 7 feet?
No, inches.
Goddamn.
And in man math, that's like 5 inches. So
right. In man math. So when you were talking about this last week, not 2 days ago.
Definitely not 2 days
ago. When you were talking about this huge amount of snowfall, it made me think of in 2004, I want to say, I actually went to Hamilton, Ohio to visit my grandmother and my aunt on my dad's side. And my dad's like, it might snow a little bit. Usually it melts when it hits the ground. It's not like a super snowy part of Ohio. And I was like, okay. And I live in fucking Phoenix. So I had shorts and the t-shirts.
That's a sentence every single Midwesterner has heard. And then you get a travel not advised warning in the morning.
It's like Arizona with like, it's when I was filming last week and they were like, it's a 40% chance of rain. I was like, cool. So it's not going to rain. And then it rained the entirety of the round and no bullshit. We finished recording the round and I was talking to Tony, the NADGT guy. And as we're walking off the course, the clouds part, the sky is blue, the sun is out. I was like, this sucks, dude. Anyway, back to my story. Went to Hamilton, Ohio. One night, 19 inches of snow. It was a record for them.
Nikes, bro.
And we wake up the next morning, and my dad's like, I need you to shovel me out of the alley. I was like, I don't know what any of that fucking means. I don't. None of those words make sense in my brain. So that was a fun time.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I've always hated winter. A lot of people say they like it. I don't believe them. Because boy, am I missing throwing frisbees right about now.
Yeah,
and I've started doing this podcast with you in lieu of going to like putting league and stuff. Just because that's a lot of time commitment out of a week, and I've got a family and shit, and that kind of lame stuff. So have skipped out on putting league this year. Might go next week. It's a pay per week kind of deal, so you can just kind of show up and have fun if you want. I might do that next week. We'll see. But yeah, I am missing actually playing disc golf, as you can probably tell from my socials. I kind of losing.
You've been so annoying on socials, to be honest.
I imagine.
Hey, it's the only time I ever see you tweeting and I'm like, ugh, is like when you're getting into arguments with people because I'm like, I hope these people don't loop me into this shit. I don't like arguing with anybody. Like, oh, y'all argue with Shanked all you want. I don't like. For me, I'm just like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm too old to argue. Would you say you're only 27?
Yep.
Right? Wow.
Yep.
I'm the dad on this show, I guess. That makes sense based on my hairline.
Is you or you haven't seen mine? I'm always wearing a hat.
Yeah, I got over that shit, champ. You're on your way.
Are you or is Papa older?
Oh, I think Brian's. I don't want to be offensive, but I'm pretty sure Brian's way older than I am. I want to say Brian's probably, I would say
70.
late 30s, early 40s. I'm only 34. So no disrespect, Brian. I genuinely have no fucking clue how old you are. That's just a stab in the dark. So
I was just wondering who's my real papa, you know.
Oh, I mean, he's grandpapa. I'm your daddy.
Oh shit. This is a weird one.
It's a little weird one already. Little inspiration from Pedro Pascal there. If you've ever seen the clip of him saying, I'm your daddy.
Yeah. Good
he's pull. Everyone's daddy. The dude showed up to the Golden Globes in a sling and still was a 10 out of 10. I don't know how that man was blessed 6 ways from Sunday. So attractive. Can't handle it. So we did, well, I didn't participate, but my story time for this week is at Vista del Camino, where we hold the memorial. There's a Wednesday night league, and everybody shows up. It's a bring your own partner doubles, basically.
Oh, okay.
And this week they did the 6-6-6 format, the Devil's Doubles. And I really want to try it. I've never played a 6-6-6 round, and I really want to play it. Do you know what it is?
Breaking news. Spiicii Satanist.
Well, obviously.
Not on my Christian Minecraft server. No, I don't. I've never heard of 6-6-6 doubles.
So 6-6-6 dubs is what we play. Devil's Dubs is it's first 6 holes are best shot. Second 6 are worst shot. And then the last 6 are alternate shot doubles.
That actually sounds really fun.
Yeah. And that's, I'm like, that sounds amazing. It's like, if you both park it, worst shot is, you know, if you could just make it for 6 holes with a worst shot, you'd be absolutely fine.
Oh, yeah.
But, excuse me. But I had a bunch of friends go and play, and they had a really great time. So I'm going to be playing at Fountain Hills on Monday because I'm off work. And so that'll be a fun story time for next time we hang out, because I don't think we're recording on Tuesday.
No, probably not. That if you heard that, think you're not missing an episode. We just doubled up this week, so you'll still get your weekly episodes. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a story time this week. You know, like, you gotta let me know down in the comments who is in the in the right here. So middle of this last year, probably like June or July ish. Excuse me.
He did that in the pre-show when we were gearing up, and I just had to hit him with the ASMR.
So earlier this year in like July-ish, doesn't really matter. I played a tournament in Marshalltown, Iowa, which is like the
I've heard it called the Ponca City of Iowa.
Yeah, it's the Ohio of Iowa. Nice pull, by the way. Not a great area, but the course was really fun. But I got paired up with this guy. I was after round 1, I shot a really hot round, which hot round for MA3 was like, I think I shot like an 880 rated round. It was somewhere in like the -4 area. Pretty easy course. But I played around with this guy. Ended up ending round 1 for in first place, solo first place. And I was pretty stoked. I had never went into a round 2 that close to a win. I've been up in like the top 5 a couple different times, but this is the first time I was going into round 1 in first place, and I had a fine. I try not to do much on like the lunch breaks in between rounds. I think I just had some food, whatever. And round 2 starts, and I get paired with this guy that I was on the card with the first round, which he wasn't doing very well off the tee, but he was putting very well. And he was like 3 strokes behind me going into it. Well, apparently he learned how to forehand between rounds because he came out slinging in round 2 and immediately was catching up to me. And then we had a rules issue. It's the only time I've ever had a rule pulled on me, like a situation where it wasn't kind of tie goes to the runner deal, where it's like, too close to call, whatever. It's MA3, that kind of stuff. I had to throw over a parking lot. Parking lot plays OB. And so me being the parking lot was on the left-hand side, and me being a lefty, I have to throw a hyzer over the parking lot. Risky, but like it was the best shot choice for the moment. And it was only like 250 feet. Like I was clearing it. Not really an issue there unless I like grip lock it. And from my perspective, I clear the OB and I hit a tree that's right on the far side of the parking lot, and it falls back into the parking lot. And the guy that was chasing me down,
your visuals, right?
I crossed by my visuals and by the fact that the tree was inbounds on the other side of the parking lot.
Right. So there's no way you could hit it and not be inbound
and not have crossed. Well, it fell backwards and landed in the parking lot, and the guy called me. He's like, "No, you didn't cross." And I was like, he's chasing me down at this point. So clearly I'm like, is this some sort of ploy to grab a stroke or whatever?
Right.
And I looked at my card mates, and I was just, for audio listeners, there's no way. You're just going to have to wonder.
Yep. You'll just have to wonder what we're giggling about. Sorry. Go ahead, bud.
No. So the disc hits the tree, falls back into the parking lot. Dude calls me out of bounds. And I looked at my card, and I'm like, clearly I hit the tree on the other side of the concrete. And like, I had to have at least crossed, whatever. And they all were just they did like the thing. And I couldn't get anyone to agree with me that I crossed, and they all sided with him. So I ended up having to take the stroke because on the other side of the parking lot, I had a putt. Far side, no putt. So it was an added stroke unless I threw it in.
Sure.
I probably wouldn't have made the putt anyways, but
here nor there.
Yeah.
Spirit of the game.
Yeah. And like I don't really know the point of the story time, I suppose, other than like before that and to now, I had never ran into someone in MA3 that was like didn't just give the benefit of the doubt,
Right.
Like I'm not going to say it's what lost me the tournament because I ended up losing by 3 strokes. So, but it definitely.
Did that guy win?
He did.
What a dick.
He did end up winning. Actually, pretty great guy. I ended up whooping his ass at Hootin' and Shootin' in Newton. But that's because that's a lefty friendly course, and although he has a nasty forehand, they're not quite the same shot shape. But yeah, that's my story time. At the time I almost won, but didn't. I would have gone pro if I didn't get injured.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Yeah. If I ever see him again, it's on site.
Clap, clap. The only time that anyone's really ever gotten in my face about anything golf related was we were doing a pyro. Do you know what pyrohyzer is? Do you participate in pyrohyzer?
I throw a lot of them, but
no, like the organization pyrohyzer.
No.
Okay, so it's a nationwide event, and they pick like one weekend a month, and everyone goes out and plays, and it's a nationwide ace pot. So
that's cool.
if you ace that day, you usually take home like $800. Like you should definitely look into it. Me and all the Arizona homies, we do Pyrohyzer. It's
really cool.
it's pretty fun. Yeah, it's
Is there
really,
like
really fun.
standards to what kind of hole it has to be?
Yeah, it has to be over 200 feet, I think.
Okay.
And if you apply for like pyro in your area, they'll give you a list of courses, I believe, that are qualifying. So you can go out, you play them.
I was gonna say,
Those
I've got
super
a
fun rounds
6.
because you're literally like, they give these little glass circular tags. I have a bright red one.
Okay.
And I'm
Are they
number like 6,700 or something like that. And it's like $5, and then you pay $5 each week, and then you basically just go ace race. You're not really super worried about your score. You just want to ace because it's like $800.
I assume it has to be on camera, stuff like that.
No,
How do they just take your word for it?
It's just honor system.
Honor system.
My understanding is,
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, my understanding is like your whole card has to like stay. Give information. You can't just go out by yourself. It has to be at least 4 people
It's like
in pyro.
It's remote flex start tournament.
I guess. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because I've always wondered that, like, I've never heard of stories like that where like you sign up for a flex start with a bunch of buddies and then you just cheese your scores. I mean, it would be so easy to do, but I've never heard of it, which is a testament to disc golfers. And I'm probably just in my own little bubble. I'm sure it's happened, but like, it seems like the easiest way to kind of, it's like league rounds. You know, a lot of people say they shouldn't. I've heard that people think they shouldn't be sanctioned because it's a good way to kind of fluff up your rating if you play every week, and you know, leagues can be pretty casual and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, pyro, they go, you know, there's always one person in charge of the course when you go. So like my buddy Timbo does it frequently. But they collect the money, they collect all the pyro tags, and you have to verify your ace through them. And we're all very good friends, like you said. And
so you're all
know
just
each other. Aces. Yeah, you know, we know each other well enough to be like, fucking did you?
look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Exactly. Like Along Came Polly. Look at me in my eyeball. But yeah, it's super fun. Anyway, my buddy Todd hits aces for pyro all the time. He's got like 4 or 5 pyro aces, and it's like,
dang,
man, I've got 19 aces, and none of them have earned me a penny. So, not.
Yeah, I hate that Green Splatter's latest tweet, the don't do it, don't buy into the ace pot or something like that.
Like, yeah, I saw that, and I was like, dude, no, because the one time you don't is when you're gonna hit it.
Oh, absolutely.
Never fails.
That's the one time I've ever hit an ace for an ace pot. I've won an ace pot due to like CTP, like they were like, you know, first 8 or, you know, aces gets it, closest to the pin gets it. Otherwise, I prefer rolling ace pots because then it's like, you know, if no one hits it for a while, you can be like, oh, ace pot's up to like $800, you know, versus the throw off every week. And then like the maxi make is like 60 or whatever, which is still solid. You know, you pay $5 to get into dubs, you leave with 60 because you aced. But the one time I didn't pay into the ace pot, I hit a black ace and I was like, oh, they're not, you know, like even if I was paid in, they're not going to count that. And not only were they going to like, they didn't care that I didn't pay it in. I almost hit somebody and then also black ace. They were like, they were going to give me my ace pot, but I left before they could even like, before the after round meeting was over or whatever, because short on time, or probably had a bad round and just wanted to get the hell out of there or something.
So the weekly Wednesday league at my home course is called Wacky Wednesday. What an original title! And every night I've
heard of Mike more, by the way.
Yeah,
it came through so crisp,
aggressive. No, but every time I finish my round, I would just leave because I'm not, it'd be me and fucking Yakov Smirnov, guy who plays once a month, and he, he's not anywhere close to any basket, and he's not putting. Beef stroganoff, and I'm terrible, so I knew I wasn't placing or cashing, so I was like, whatever, I'm leaving. And it's funny because you're like, I've never heard a player just cheesing scores. I almost had a CTP stolen from me by a person I know. And he didn't know me as Kyle. He knew me as Spiicii.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he saw my name on the CTP, a friend of mine was on his card. And he was like, oh, I'm just going to write that I had CTP because I want this prize. And my friend was like, well, absolutely fucking don't do that.
Yeah.
And luckily he didn't. And I still have that CTP prize somewhere. It's like a little painting or something. I can't remember what it was, but I was like how inconsiderate are you, dude? Like, you're just going to lie to people?
Yeah.
And not just people, like the people who came out here to partake in this activity with you. Don't be shitty.
Yeah, that's one of my what a transition there. It's, don't be shitty. One of my favorite things is one of my favorite things, regarding CTPs is like playing a tournament or like a league round or something, and you're walking up to what you know to be a CTP hole, and sorry, I'm thinking more long putt rather than CTP. You get up to like a long putt hole, and you're looking around for it, and it's you can't find it near the basket. You look up the fairway, and it looks like someone threw it in from like 100 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Just love seeing the last tournament I played at Big Woods. I hit CTP or what? Sorry, I keep saying CTP. I hit the long putt pretty early on in the round. It was like probably a 65 footer putt. Thought it was
max drive.
Thought it was my max drive. Thought for sure I had that one locked down. End of the round comes, and I'm like, waiting for this CTPs and long putts to get called out, and I never get called. Turns out someone threw in from like 200 feet on that hole. It's hole 18 at Big Woods. It's like 500 feet. So like, just got robbed.
I hate that. It's like,
cool shot, but like, come on.
Right. Stop being lucky and having good things happen to you. I hosted bingo last night, and I was telling you before we went live that this kid came in, and I know him as a disc golfer. I didn't know his name. His name's Carson, but I didn't know his name at the time. I knew who he was, and he comes in, and he's like, didn't you go to Ricky's for New Year's Eve? And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I did. Why am I now recognizable for being at Ricky's? So, I'm going to have to leave this show behind in at least 2 episodes because I'll be too famous.
Too famous.
To other people's parties.
Well, based on the voice you gave Carson, I'm thinking it's probably Drew Gibson.
It wasn't high enough. God, I can't wait for Drew to punch me in the face. I'll be like, don't.
We should get him on the show. Oh, wait. No, he's a pro. Damn.
He won't. Yeah, he wouldn't do this. You would have to pay him. I remember. I don't know if I should tell that story. It was like an on the course, person to person story. I don't feel I should share it, but
fair enough.
It was. I was talking to Drew about something, and I had mentioned wanting to see him on something, and he was like, "I don't need $200."
Brazzers,
and yeah. That's what it was. It was going to be him and Brandy Love. God damn it. Wow, that threw me off. Brazzers got me. I haven't played since we last recorded, so I don't have a roundabout story. Did you play yesterday?
No, I haven't. It's been way too much snow.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, some people brave that out there, but I can't. Like, if it's a ton of snow, I'm just not. I'm
That's
not
like
out there usually.
I don't know how the Europeans do it. I really don't. Speaking of Europeans, did you see Kristen got named Sports Person of the Year in
Yeah, in
Estonia?
Estonia, that's pretty sweet.
And then she also got like 3 or 4 other awards as well. It's like, listen, we get it.
You're good. You're good at disc golf. Jeez.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and what's crazy to me is like I don't know if it's when I first got into disc golf and specifically watching disc golf, I was pretty heavy on the MPO. It took me a while to maybe like a season to start watching FPO, but it doesn't seem like Kristen's been around very long. Like you've got like the Paige Pierce and like all the other ladies in there that have been there for a while. And it doesn't seem like Kristen's been in the mix for more than 3 years. Like maybe I'm wrong about that, but
I know when I first started watching, it was like early 2018 is when I first started watching golf, and she had the black hair, and
okay, so she was around.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this as respectfully as I can, but I was a single dude at the time, and I don't mean to be disrespectful at all about this, but I think most people would agree that Kristen Tatar is a very beautiful woman, and again, I don't mean to be shitty about that. It's not intended any sort of negative way, but like when I first saw her, I was like, oh man, that's the first thing I thought.
I think that's a fair assumption.
And then she's, that's just me being smooth male brain piece of shit, and I'm aware of that. But then you watch her golf, and you're like, God damn, man, like she just rips, and she's been around. But I think what she ran into popularity wise was right when disc golf started to skyrocket. Probably shouldn't do that with this haircut. But right when disc golf started to skyrocket, COVID hit, and she was like locked in Europe, so she just couldn't come out here and travel. She couldn't come out here and play, and so we, as Americans, were not really exposed to her.
Yeah, I mean, I forget other places exist.
Like the American way, baby.
The World Championships. It's always right here.
And I'm actually excited for them to be in Europe this year.
Right, me too.
But yeah, then like the first memorial I worked, like Lucky was out here, and a bunch of other European players whose names I apologize, I'm forgetting. But like I was like, oh, these people are, she's Norwegian, she's got the flag on her bag and all that stuff. And I was like, I wonder why Kristen didn't come out. And then the 2021, she came out and absolutely
just mopping up the competition,
started ruining people. And it's like, oh shit, like there's this monster across the water that nobody had any idea about. So I don't remember what her first pro season was. I want to say like 2016, 2017.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, there you go, Terry. There's another clip for you. We're gonna have
where we're all wrong.
A clip show at the end of the year of Shanked being wrong.
Yeah. Hold on. In Parnu.
But yeah.
What year did she go pro? 2015, even before I thought.
2015.
So she's been pro in Europe for quite some time.
She was around for God damn it. The Bleach Tips Macbeth. What do they call that?
Bleach Tips Macbeth?
Yeah, when he had
Frosted
his
tips?
Frosted Tips. Thank you. God damn.
You gotta ask the hair expert, bro.
I took 2 little puffs before the show.
Clearly, I had
forgetting how to talk.
I had to unclog the old piece because it needs a cleaning. But I'm right there with you.
Thankfully, this one comes out in got a week to maybe edit the video version so we can get rid of some of the. It's been a weird vibe, this one.
That's okay. It's fun, and that's why people like us.
Oh yeah, no, we never claimed to be professionals. I mean, 4 AMs by AMs.
4 AMs by AMs. That's what we need, a disc. That needs to be a stamp.
4 AMs by AMs.
But you can only put it on like beginner discs.
Yeah.
Can't put that on like a Tilt or a Zone OS.
It can only go on speed 7 or lower.
Only Mako 3s.
Only make actually sick.
Yeah.
Speaking of only Mako 3s, I should pull that up. The second round of my disc draft. No, the one disc challenge that I'm doing. Challenge, punishment, whatever. Round 2 ended today. So far, what we have left is Beth, Hatchet, Buzz, Glitch, Mako 3, Firebird, Hex, and Leopard 3.
That took me a hot minute. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
My buddy Cole lives and dies by the Berg.
Yeah.
So I was telling him about how you had misspelled it on like Beth. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, got me. But look who we have in the studio.
In the green room. And he can stay.
What
up, dude?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We are doing great. It's been a weird one. How are you?
Good. Did I tune in just in time for some flight numbers? Is that what I was hearing, possibly?
Oh, yeah. Kind of. So I'm doing my first sanctioned tournament of the year. I have to play with one disc due to the homies getting us to 150 subscribers. So we're down to 8 discs left in the polls, and people have actually been very generous. The only one I'm scared of that's left is the Berg.
So the rest of the viewers and listeners are going to determine the one disc you get to go play in the tournament?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I put up a post that was like, I'm going to play a tournament with one disc. Give me a suggestion and I'll put them in a poll to fight to like till there's one left, like a bracket. And we're down to, I think, 8 discs left, and
Elite 8.
Yep, the Elite 8. They're none of them are too bad except for the Beth or Berg,
I think the more you say it, the more people are going to lean to giving you that one. So I don't know if that's some reverse psychology or not, but the more that you put it out there, I think the more they're going to want you to use it.
Yep.
Well, we've got, what are the other options? You've got the Tilt, the Berg, the Glitch.
The Tilt got beat, thankfully. What's left is the Berg, Westside Hatchet, Discraft Buzz, MVP Glitch, Innova Mako 3, Innova Firebird, MVP Hex or Axiom Hex, and Innova Leopard 3.
Okay.
So they actually treated me pretty well because there was a Stego on the line, there was a Tilt on the line, there was a Rolo on the line. So the people have been gracious.
Yeah, I was going to say, you really kind of got out easy because we could have just ruined you.
Yeah, I was like, oh, great. I'm going to tank my rating over some meme.
It's all right. We'll get you up from 600 one day.
Right. Well, we already established 800 is as high as it goes. So
then you guys have to like relinquish your podcast. You're like, oh, we're too good for this podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
You have to have like the intermediate podcast or the advanced podcast.
The MA2 cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Hanging slightly less loose.
A little more.
An intermediate disc golf podcast.
Oh, shoot.
So Terry, for those who don't know, everyone should know, but
our
listeners are amateurs at everything. So give us a little bit of, all 7 of them, I think is how, what did Brian say that? Only 7 listeners.
All 7 listeners.
Give us a little background on yourself, kind sir.
Well, welcome. Hello, I'm Terry Miller. I go by the Disc Golf Guy, a name that I just eventually worked into giving myself, only because that's how everyone referred to me after going to so many different places and people just kind of generically saying, oh, like you're like the disc golf guy. Like I was the one guy that knew and talked about disc golf. So I was always referred to that. And I was like, well, I'm just going to own that. That wasn't until many years later. But anyway, I am 45. I found disc golf when I was like 12 or 13. So I was very fortunate in that sense. Found it at camp. and then immediately found out about some local leagues, and then eventually tournaments. And then as I went to college, I continued to play in various leagues and tournaments. And then when there wasn't a tournament going on, I would start to run them. And it just became this kind of like I needed something every weekend. And so if I wasn't traveling to Illinois or Indiana or Michigan or Minnesota or sometimes Iowa, I would eventually just run a tournament. Me and a bunch of buddies were really enthusiastic. I, of course, surrounded myself with a ton of people. Every person I ran into, I introduced to disc golf. And throughout college, continued to do more of that, where I was then helping with not only tournaments, but then I got into course design. I got into doing clinics and demonstrations. Again, I'd show up at a school and they'd be like, oh, like the disc golf guy is here. He's here to do the clinic. And I was kind of just generically referred to as that. And 2 years after college, after graduating from college with a double major, I up and quit my career at Kohl's Corporate. Many of you know Kohl's from, well, you have a bunch of Kohl's bucks. That's what you shop with. Once you shop there enough, you get a bunch of free money from them. But I worked at their headquarters, which is just still 15 minutes from where I am right now. And that was 2003. And I said, I'm going to try and make a go at disc golf full time. And for 7 or 8 more years, that was exclusively running leagues, running tournaments, designing courses, churches, youth groups, clubs, things of that nature, with a really heavy emphasis on running events, along with playing competitively. I was a professional starting in 2000, and that was making me hundreds of dollars a year. And
shit, settle down, champ.
Yeah, and have always been, deeply rooted and supportive of the PDGA. And then 2010, about this time, almost exactly 14 years ago to the day, I was putting up some of my first ever videos on YouTube, and I became the disc golf guy officially. I read a book called Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk, who's gone on to be one of the most influential, business social media marketing guys on the planet. I read his book and immediately started the Twitter handle, X, started the handle, started Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that other stuff. And at that point, it was within a couple of years, my playing career very much subsided because I finally started just going to tournaments with exclusively cameras and sometimes friends, as opposed to going there with a bag and then maybe bringing a camera. In fact, somewhere here in my stack of stuff, I have the first ever camera that I used to start my channel with in this very room 14 years ago. And 2014 was a big year because I was doing vlogs for my channel, but that's when me and my buddy started Smashbox TV, which was the secondary live streaming service within disc golf. There was a solution before that we helped out with over at discgolfplanet.tv, and we volunteered for many years to help make live disc golf a thing. And in 2014, we just said, hey, we think we can take this and improve upon it. And then Smashbox became pretty much the exclusive live provider for the next 4 or 5 years. That's when the Pro Tour started, and the Pro Tour hired us to lock into 5 events the very first year of the Pro Tour. That was what differentiated the Pro Tour from all other tournaments, is that they were guaranteeing live coverage would be there. And that was me and my buddy Johnny. And from there, the Pro Tour continued to grow and expand and eventually become so much more massive. And we got consumed within the overarching, media team that's 40 or 50 people, as opposed to it being 3 of us. And here we are all these years later. And I think that's pretty much the abridged version. It's about as quick as I could get through it.
Didn't mention me at all, and I'm a big.
Oh yeah, my life changed for the better when I met Spiicii at this one tournament in Arizona, and he threw this one shot, and it was amazing.
It was like a 55-foot putt.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck yeah, Terry saw that.
Yeah, I've never seen that. I've never done that. It was you showed me another world of disc golf that I was otherwise oblivious to.
That was the longest putt Terry's ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you say that so sarcastically, because genuinely, for me, that is an honest sentiment, but about you is like, I had just barely been into disc golf, maybe 2 years, and pure happenstance end up on your card. I did call it. My friend JB will attest to that. We were at the fundraiser glow round for the Phoenix Ladies Open 2 years ago. And I was like, Terry's playing. I'm going to end up on his card. I just know I am. And then I did. And we became buddies. And I believe you said it's so much easier to turn a disc golfer into a cameraman than it is to turn a cameraman into a disc golfer. And I was like, oh, well, I kind of do both. And now I have your phone number. So
yeah. It's changed since last time we talked, thankfully. But
5 minutes ago, holy shit!
That's
what you were doing on the computer over there.
Yeah, I need to keep you at arm's length. I very much do. I personally will attest to that. That I feel like it's easier because I say it all the time. It's so much easier, I think, if somebody knows, hey, when Ricky Wysocki steps up to a particular hole and he lines up a certain way, like, he's throwing a forehand, and that, oh, this one hole, there is a quote unquote Simon line that a Simon Lizotte or an Eagle McMahon might be taking. And then you see, a Chris Clemens who, can throw forehand and backhand, and you have to probably know the hole and maybe know his game a little bit. All of those things will make you a better cameraman, as opposed to being a phenomenal cameraman. And then all of a sudden these people then they throw a roller. Like you're not anticipating a roller if you don't know disc golf. And right. So that's been my sentiment. Now, I don't claim to be a professional cameraman, and I, at one point, was only so much of a professional golfer, but nonetheless, I still think it is easier to turn turn a knowledgeable disc golfer into a decent cameraman than the reverse. I agree with that.
But it's, in essence, what you said basically about, like, you met me and then this whole world of disc golf opened up to you that you were previously unaware of, is like, that was genuinely what happened to me. Is like, I was out playing 3 nights, 4 nights a week, whatever. And then you were gracious enough to be like, just come handle a camera for a round and we'll see, what you do. And it's turned into something that it's a time of year I get excited for every time. I know you're going to be here. There's 3 or 4 tournaments we're going to work on together, and then you'll disappear into the mist for another 8 months until November hits. And I never, ever thought that, like, I'd be filming Kristen and Paul and Ricky and Yuli and all these. I mean, they're these people that I aspire to be like and whatever and be around, and getting the opportunity to do that. And I don't know how many of our episodes you listen to, but I gush about you all the time because I genuinely do appreciate everything that you do. And I tell you that face to face here too, not even just on the podcast. And you'll back me up on that, as I get real gushy around Terry and he fucking hates it. So
I'm good with it. No, I appreciate it. And just, you had expressed that you had a little bit of knowledge with cameras. Obviously that helps. I don't feel like you have to be an expert in camera work or camera handling, but the fact that you expressed you had a little bit of working knowledge with cameras is certainly, was a huge advantage. And then, another point to that is, it is cool when we have now scorekeepers and volunteers and caddies and cameramen and some of these media opportunities. Like, yeah, you're doing your job and it's really cool. You're also getting probably one of the best seats in the house, and you're getting 100%. Kind of some of this front row access. And I don't just mean you, I mean anyone that, as you kind of get into this. And I've been very fortunate that I was around before we had, barricades and an entire posse of people and ropes and all these things. But that also is part of what ingratiated me, I feel like, with some of these players, is I was there from day one, or early on, I should say. I was there very early with a camera filming something that was going to go on a silly YouTube channel, one of which only, 2 or 3 existed really existed in disc golf. So it's been quite a process throughout all these years, for sure.
Man.
Yeah, it's just been, and I tell people that all the time when I tell them I do videography. That feels like a fancy word for what I do, but I'm like, I literally get to stand 5 feet behind the best disc golfers in the world and, like, watch and learn. And I'm very good at, like, form mimicry. So, like, I'll see how they do something, and then I'll try and implement it into my own throws or whatever, and I become a better golfer for it. But the fact that I get to do all that, and then 3 or 4 weeks afterwards, Terry finally remembers to PayPal me. It's really nice.
Well, I was just going to say, it sounds like with what you're saying, I should be charging you. Like, I think we just discovered a new philosophy here. And if you can start PayPaling me, at least deposits, I will think about keeping you on, the media call.
I got a couple cameras I can sell and get you some funds.
Yeah.
When you were talking, you kind of, I don't want to say glossed over it, but like you were talking about how, you found disc golf early on, and then you very quickly, it sounded like you said 12, 13, and I'm bad at math right now for organic reasons. When you turned, what was your path like from just like hanging out with your buddies, throwing, and then becoming a professional? Like, how fast was it? I know you said you fell into it pretty heavy, pretty quick, right?
Yeah, just the idea that there was organized tournaments was exciting. I think 94-ish, 95 were some of my first tournaments, somewhere in that neighborhood. And there was far less divisions. There were also far less people and far less money. And, everything was, just really a snippet compared to what we have today, or a fraction. And yeah, I played probably in a year or two of what we called still then, I guess, intermediate or AM2, or I'm trying to think, we didn't call it MA2, it was called the AM2 more so at that time. And then we had advanced, which I then played in for a couple of years. And I became a pretty good advanced player within the state. And then because I was playing so often, I was earning a lot of points and I was traveling as much as I could. So I think it was in 99, I finished second in the world to Felberg for advanced points. So it's just like today, we have points totals. You can travel all around. Felberg was in an RV playing every big tournament all around the country. And every weekend that I was playing wherever I could as well, but I was still going to college. I think he told his grandma he was going to college. But anyway, so I was going to college and was playing as much as I possibly could. And so it was right around that 99, 2000. I remember in 2000, I was offered cash at a tournament. And I was like, no, I want to go to Am Worlds and actually perform well. I hadn't performed well in the previous 4 that I'd been to. 1 or 2 of those was premature, but I hadn't performed well at all. And I was like, no, I really care about doing well at Am Worlds. So I turned down cash in early 2000. I think it was in Florida with Climo at an event, and at another event in Kentucky, I turned it down. And then like a few weeks later, I was back in Michigan playing, and I think either tied or beat Avery Jenkins. I think I tied Avery Jenkins for 3rd place in a pro tournament. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I turning down money? Like, here I am getting offered it left and right at the time, which kind of was your defining moment of like, you're an AM or you're a pro. And it was that cash line, even if it was $7, like that's what turned you into a pro. And we had different rules with in terms of the ratings and all that other stuff at the time. So it was a really distinct line. And at that point I accepted the cash. And then from that point forward was a pro. So I had played, I played 96, 97, 98, 99 Am Worlds. And then four in a row. And then I went on to play 16 Pro Worlds in a row. Wow. So I played 20 World Championships in a row at one point. Yeah, I love to play.
Dang. Well, and
that's correct.
I'm excited to hear about that part of you, because everyone knows, you're on the coverage, you're on the live shows, you're on, you do so much in the media world that like people forget, like, mans can cut apart a disc golf course. And I think I was playing with some friends a couple weeks ago, and they were like, I saw this clip of Terry getting an ace. Like, I had no idea, like, he was a good player. I was like, yeah. I'm like, Terry absolutely shreds unless it's an uphill putt at Vista, but we don't have to talk about that. Were you not like a putting champion at some point as well?
Yeah, in the 2011 Worlds in Santa Cruz, we had our regular putting semifinals or putting, whatever, qualifiers at the Worlds. And then what they did is they took all the top finalists there, and they also invited us to go down to the wharf on the beach and in Santa Monica. Did I just say that? Santa Cruz. In Santa Cruz, we went down to the wharf, and they had a big party and ace throw off, which Seppo got this incredible shot, and they did all this other fun stuff. Well, one of the things they had was a putting competition, and they had us from like 8 or 10 different stations, and you had to throw, I think it was 5 putts from these different stations in the sand, and it absolutely sucked. Like just running in the sand, as anyone knows, sucks. And we had all these different stations, and because I had one of the higher qualifying numbers, I went last. Jay Redding, who I think was the only guy that had more maybe than me, wasn't there for some reason. And so all the numbers had been set. Josh Anthon had one of the high numbers. A bunch of the other top putters were there. And then we got to the end, and I was going through the stations, and I forget the number. We'll say it was 23. I'm putting, and I get to like 22, and I was like, oh, I came up short of the win of 24 or whatever the number was. And they're like, no, everyone's yelling. There's a few hundred people there. Like, no, you have one more station, which I didn't realize. So I ran over there, and then I rattled off like 3 out of the last 4, and then I won the competition. And it was pretty cool. It was I don't call it a putting world title, although I guess it gets called that a lot.
It was a putting title at Worlds.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of my career highlights in terms of just overall jubilation and something that was pretty cool because of the gallery, the place, everything that it 2011. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
That sounds like it. Oh, Shank, do you want to throw some questions at him? I feel like I've been just yelling at Terry for
no, absolutely. I've just been chilling. It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Well, one thing I always wonder, you film and watch a lot of disc golf. Has there ever been a shot that you witnessed and wished you would have filmed but didn't?
I mean, inevitably, there can be a lot of that, and I don't want to say on every given weekend, but it kind of is a tangent answer to that is people will come up and be like, oh, I just aced hole 7 and I'm covering the card behind them. And I'm like, okay, I mean, that sucks. I wish we had a camera there, but I'm not, and you should have played better to be on the card that I'm covering. I don't know, or inevitably a lot of people will walk up and, oh, did you see my putt on 9? I'm like, no, I'm busy. Like I'm doing stuff here on this card. So sometimes people want to tell you that, or they'll say, man, I wish you would have been here. I did this, and that. And I was like, I mean, of course I'd love for great shots to get covered, but I can only, even though I'm large, I can only be in one place at one time. So, I feel like that happens a lot. I don't know if there's been a shot that I missed, so to speak. I'm sure there has been where, and there's also been times, I think just a year ago, I was down at Florida covering Gainesville. I'm waiting for the lead card to tee off, and Garrett Gerthy's brother, Evan Gerthy, or Ben, one of his 2 brothers, and he has another brother that's playing. Anyway, they're playing, Evan was playing, and he was on 9, which plays back toward the tee of 1. And I was like, oh, well, I'll point my camera in that direction. He makes like a 60-footer. And it's like, oh, that was kind of cool. I captured that.
Yeah.
Then the problem is like, what do I do with it? I'm creating shot-by-shot coverage for lead card. Now, that really should turn into some kind of clip out of its own on some kind of social media platform. Yeah. And I probably had that intention and never did it. So those are the types of things that happen occasionally. But I don't know if there's been a shot that because if I'm there and it's on my card, I'm filming it.
Right.
That's where the obligation is, right? You don't really have an obligation to catch other shots from other cards. And then sometimes I purposely don't, because I don't want somebody to come up to me and say, hey, did you get that clip of me on hole 9? You were like next to me. I'm like, no, I didn't film it.
Yeah.
As early as it is in my fledgling media career in disc golf, you know, I'm filming 4 tournaments a year for 2 years now, but like people come up to me, where were you? I just aced 4. It's like, I'm on assignment right now. Like I'm not sniffing for aces. You know what I mean? Like I'm working. I'm, like you said, I'm large, but I can only be in one place at one time. And that's probably, at least when we're doing like the Memorial at Fountain or Vista, there's a couple of holes where like it's a big fairway and I'm, there's 4 discs in 4 different places and I'm hustling my fat ass back and forth trying to make sure I'm in position to get the the shot. And sometimes you can't get there. And I can only imagine, like, let me just tell you, shooting on Sunday in 40-degree weather and wind in the rain, I was like, I never want to hold a camera on a disc golf course again. I was so miserable. I was like, I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. And then at the end of the day, Tony, the media director for the NADGT, was super kind. And he's like, I hope I paid you enough because I know this sucks and, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like worried about your equipment. And I was like, I'm trying to, like, I had like a fries bag over it with the tape. And I was like, I wonder if this is how Terry's early days as a media personality were. Like, is there an am side and a pro side to being a media person in disc golf, or is it just like you kind of roll with it? Because that's kind of what I've done.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of lessons along the way, which I hope transfer you from, or grow you from being an AM to a pro, and just little nuances. And these are some of the things that I try to incorporate with new cameramen that I'm working with that are going to be shooting usually for my channel. And so I feel like there's, like, everybody is Zoom happy, myself included. I think that's the number one mistake that you see with shooters out there that are filming. They want to zoom way in on something and then zoom out, and they think it's going to look cool. And it makes people seasick, as the constant zooming in and out. So, and I'm not saying you can't zoom. You just need to be slow and steady, and then also use it when most needed, as opposed to like, hey, I'm going to get this really tight shot of their face, and all of a sudden you're trying to back out so you can get their throw, and it just feels really jarring. And I feel like that's a very AM mistake. And then another AM mistake is a lot of people feel like, oh, the putt went in the basket, click, turn it off. And it's like, you got to give it room to breathe. You got to give, and you don't necessarily need to watch them pick up their bag and carry it in and tie their shoe, but like, you need a little bit of tail, as we call it, at the end.
Damn.
So that you have some wiggle room in terms of editing. And those are the types of things. And then learning some, it's a little cliche, but like, you get what you pay for when it comes to some of your equipment, and you're on a budget because you're an AM and you're trying to just get started. And then you learn, like, man, maybe I should just buy a better microphone. Maybe I should invest the $200 into a camera case cover, or a camera case that carry the cameras around in general. Those are all the types of things that I feel like you kind of work yourself into, and sometimes you learn the hard way, and sometimes it just comes natural. But backups, spares, extra cards, extra batteries, like, you usually learn that mistake once, and then you're like, okay, nah, I cannot do that again. So yeah, there's an AM side and a pro side, and I feel like a lot of people kind of have to live through those experiences, and then hopefully learn once, and then you never do it again.
So that was me on Sunday. Is my main assignment for the beginning of the day was sit on hole 1, film all the cards that go off, film their drives, and like, cool. And then the chase card comes up for MA1, and I was following them, and it was like gloomy out, but it hadn't started raining yet. And then 5 minutes before my card goes out, it starts raining. And so in 5 minutes, I'm trying to wrap the camera, tape the camera, put anything I don't need to carry with me in the car, get it back out. And we're literally on the 4th hole, and I look at my battery and it's like 29% because I'd been filming all morning. And I'm already on the course, and I'm like, oh my God, all my batteries are in my car. And luckily, there was a very nice gentleman named Rich who was walking with us. And I was like, it's a black Kia. The license plate says testing. It's in the parking lot. Just grab the red and white backpack. He goes, it's not the Maybach Benz. And I was like, listen, asshole, I don't have time for this.
He's like, I'm a Kia boy. I'm out of here. He's like, I made it easy.
Yeah, he handed me his keys. But he also gave me gloves, and it was super cold. But I thought of you instantly. I was like, dude, if Terry was here and he knew that I just left my extra batteries, he'd be like, what do I always tell you? Just like that sage media dad advice. Always have your extra batteries.
Yeah. So earlier this week, I asked the homies on Twitter to give me a Terry Miller story, good or bad, and I got one.
I think that's good. That in itself is good.
I can tell
that's a win for me.
It comes from Charles Rafe. I want to say that's how you say his last name. Dateline, June 2020. Location, Bridgman, Michigan.
Nats is my guess.
I'm just going to read it word for word. So, Terry was just looking for a simple round of disc golf at a traditional Michigan park style course. He made this so the story is so it's written. I love it.
Okay.
Look, simple round of disc golf at a traditional Michigan style course. Meanwhile, a very nice young lady was playing her very first sanctioned round ever. Cue hole 12, when she shanks her drive over the OB fence into the neighboring woods. As she climbs the fence, she slips and slices open her palm on the top of the fence. As the TD swings into action with a first aid kit, it becomes very apparent that no amount of Band-Aid and or Neosporin will fix the situation. The decision is made to transport her to a local medical care facility. Terry decides immediately to spring into action. He starts up the Terry mobile, abandons his round, and acts as the Terry medic to transport this young lady to the medical center to get her stitches in her hand.
Do you remember that?
It gives me a little more credit than I deserve, but I absolutely remember it. So that was me going over to an event in Michigan, as he said, and is it the Sand something or other? This club, I got introduced to them for the weekend. If I recall, as it went, it was Saturday that I played in the tournament that they hosted, and I played in. I think they had Pro Masters. I played in it. I may have even won that. It was a really small field, only a handful of us. The tournament was relatively small. And then I stuck around on Saturday night into Sunday because I was just going to hang out and do some vending. I had a whole, Honda Element full of all my vending wares.
Is that the Terry mobile?
Yeah, exactly. So with DG guy on the license plate, that's me.
Oh, heck
yeah. DG guy.
Not a guy.
And so when I had arrived and come into action on Sunday, I don't know if I was already there, if I had just got there, something like that. And that's when I found out about it. I was talking to the TD. It had just happened moments ago. I didn't have to quit my round, but I did. I did, in fact, offer to then drive her into the local hospital. I feel like we couldn't go one place, so we had to go to another, maybe. But we went to, a clinic. And then I sat and waited for her in the waiting room. I don't know if she ended up having stitches or whatever it was, but I waited for her for a little while, and then I brought her back to the tournament, and everything was all good. So I didn't have to quit. I didn't have to quit my round. I did play the day before, so that's where I can't take too much credit. But it was
you did forego selling 2 to 3 discs within the amount of time that you were gone.
Yeah.
Personal
Plus
sacrifice.
gas. I don't think I charged her for gas for like the 17-mile round trip. So
charged your American medical response prices $4,000 for a gallon of gas.
That's true. So yes,
getting wheeled off. Can I get your Venmo?
Here's my PayPal QR code. I don't take United Healthcare. Anyway, so it was along
Terry's
those
out
lines.
of network.
Exactly. I'm out of your PPO. So it was along those lines. And it was, to me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, I wasn't, I was hanging out there, just doing that, hanging out. And the TD, the TD could have went, and I could have probably held down Tournament Central for him just the same, but it made more sense for me to go. I was there, and it was my pleasure to do so. So yes, and I think maybe her boyfriend was also playing in the tournament, I want to say, and she was all good to go from there. And did she end up playing still the next round? Something like that. I don't recall, but she was certainly a trooper after slicing her hand open on a fence.
Her boyfriend was not taking that 888.
No. And I've got a whole nother story about that for another day, about me not leaving in. Yeah, anyway. So yes, that's
no, she's in labor. We have 6 holes left.
Exactly. So that's okay. 2020. I was thinking it was going to be Michigan and AM Nationals, and someone saying they overheard me bitching about a 7-hole playoff on the toboggan during the USADGC with Paul Kranz and Ilkin Groh.
Oh, Paul, is that the guy that just got signed to?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It is. And I was there.
Tennessee boy, right?
No, Paul is out of the 578 area. He's out in Massachusetts area.
Oh, he films with Simon. That's right. Yeah.
At the time, he wasn't, as big as he is now, but it was him and Ilkin Groh that Groh that went into a playoff, and it's down hole 1 at the toboggan. Then you go to 17 uphill, and then you go uphill 18, and those a-holes played it through. 1 17 18 1 17 18 1. So even when it finished, I still had to walk back up the hill, which I don't even care. Like, even Ezra Aderholt doesn't think that's fun. Like, let's be real here. That sucks.
Yeah.
So I thought it would have been a story about me, somebody overhearing me say, "Hey, I'll just film from up here. I'll stay on top of the hill. Good luck." You and your damn.
They just do that loop to. They just do that loop to gas out the.
It's like one at a time now. It's like a pair of 16-year-olds. You're not going to gas them out. You're going to kill a cameraman. Is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I'll be at D-Glow, and then
good luck.
I'll just stay at the bottom, and then you can stay at the top and do your play-by-play. And
in all honesty, I think it was maybe 2022 that they played that. But when I think June in Michigan, that's any long-term golfer. When you think June in Michigan, immediately the United States Amateur Championships comes to mind. So. But Brian, your big old Papa Wolf would say the same, I'm sure.
Don't get into his head too much. He goes, "Are you older than Brian?" I was like, "Fuck you, man." What a question. Why would you say that? No. So also I know we're already over time just a little bit, but I wanted to ask you about the Samui purchase, because that's huge.
It's pretty exciting. It certainly is. What Nigel and his family, Nigel Mills, who's originally from California, I think he has some history in like graphic art design work with like original Tony Hawk skateboard games. Wow. And like he's got some old school connections and skills there. And at some point, he moved on to Samui and then started developing disc golf there. Luke Butch, who's from the U.S. originally as well. Luke kind of became his right-hand man in some ways, and they developed this beautiful course and property. And Nigel and his family were ready to move from the island into the mainland of Chiang Mai, where disc golf is continuing to blossom and grow right now as well. And he couldn't take it with him, so to speak. I mean, literally moving off of the island, and it wasn't really practical because he didn't have land or land rental anywhere else. And it was kind of in flux. It was a little bit in limbo as to what was going to happen with it. And that was my opportunity to step in and just basically assure that that business operated as usual. And that's kind of where I step in, and that's what I did. And I can't own land They don't let non-Thai, non-native Thais own land there, which I think is great. Otherwise, it would all been bought up, 100 years ago and commercialized. And so, everything just kind of keeps moving forward, and we're just trying to continue to develop the scene and make sure that it's still an opportunity for people to come play, and then host a couple of tournaments a year there, and then continue to hopefully make it a this vacation destination that people want to check out.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's the community look like there in terms of numbers, and
it's and that's exactly what we're trying to change. Is it's largely expats, it's largely people from all over the world that found disc golf or know about it and then found it there and are ecstatic about it. So there's a lot of Germans and Swedes and a lot of people from around the country or around the world that have moved there that partake, and the actual native Thai contingency is relatively low, but we're getting discs and donations, and Luke is helping orchestrate taking these right to the schools right there on the island to then do demos and clinics. And we have a bunch of incentives that if you're local to the area, you actually get to come play for free or at a discounted rate. And there's discs that you can check out or that you can just use. So we really are trying to help grow the culture in any possible way. And as funny as this may sound, the number one challenge over there is just getting discs onto the island, because they have these incredible tariffs and customs and all this other stuff. So sometimes it's completely impractical to get discs onto the actual island at a reasonable price. So that's where we have to really rely on people that are thinking about going over there to say, hey, can we send you 20 extra beat up discs or 50 extra discs we've collected? Can we even pay you something just to get them in your luggage so that you could then bring them in, and then they'll be dispersed or sold or given away once they get to the island. But getting discs in the hands of players is, believe it or not, one of our biggest obstacles. But a lot of people saw View Giorgio a few years ago. She's a previous Muay Thai champion fighter. Okay. And so I don't mess with her. But she is really good.
With you.
Yeah, she's sponsored by Prodigy. Was sponsored by Prodigy for a couple of years, and she was taking it really serious. She's backed off a little bit, but I think she got into the 930s or 940s maybe for her rating. She was one of the best players on the island, men or women. Yeah. And so it'd be great to see her and a few others play. There's another guy named Pichette who I met last year, and he's the lefty 50-year-old version of Paul Macbeth, which I know sounds like a funny qualifier, but he looks a lot like Paul's kind of stance and throw, especially his putt. And then he's left-handed, and he's 50 something, but maybe he looks like he's 20 something. And he's building baskets, and he's this incredible engineer. And I think he got up to being 970 or 980, 990 rated, and was the highest rated Thai competitor at the time. And damn, if we just keep those stories rolling and keep more and more of those happening, I feel like I'm playing my part at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of what grows, it's all about awareness, and having hometown heroes helps that a lot. I mean, you see that with Kristen Tatar, the entirety of Estonia is has her back, and you don't see that at all with disc golf anywhere else. Which is, when you have such a small community like that, I feel like you almost need a hometown hero, that 990 guy that comes over to the States and places top 20, and then he goes home and gets a party,
Yeah.
So
someone like Manabu Kajiyama, kind of fit that bill out of Japan many years ago, and he's still revered as obviously this incredible player. But you're right, having that beacon of something to aspire to, or to have as a role model, and then both of those people, Kristen and Manabu, just incredible humans on top of it. And I think you're right, having those are great, and seeing people rally around them helps everybody.
Yeah. And it's just super hype. I mean, we were talking earlier in the show that Kristen Tatar winning Person of the Year in Estonia or whatever it was. Like, that's super cool. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you get the mainstream exposure on top of, I mean, like every disc golfer knows who Kristen Tatar is, but she's on the cover of like Nike magazines, and I mean, she's just everywhere. And that's, you know, I don't think disc golf needs more exposure in Estonia. I think it's probably got plenty, but like just the sport in and of itself getting that mainstream, like it was on The Simpsons 2 weeks ago, and that clip's been everywhere since then. So I love it, and I would love to see disc golf. The Samui Swine Open or Classic, I can't remember how specifically you call it. Yeah, where's the disc?
Come on. Let's see, is that in?
There we go. That was my very first disc pick, Terry, was the
I bet
that you sold me. But the first one that I watched, it was pouring rain the whole time.
Oh,
and I was like, damn, that's got to be rough, because it was like not, oh, it's raining, it's like a
torrential downpour.
Yes. And I can't imagine like what that island would be like sun shining and like a breeze and like just playing disc golf in the most tropical paradise you could possibly find. Like I hope one day I get to go. I'll come out and film for free for you.
Well, you'll pay me, but we talked about this. I mean, come on.
Terry's
getting to Thailand on my dime.
Yeah, exactly. How you feeling? I know you've been under the weather the last couple of days. You sound a little Barry White-esque.
Yeah, I just in the last few days so far, I was doing really good as everyone else is getting sick, around, and I somehow was all clear, and then it just started hitting me 2 days ago, and so now I'm feeling, really congested. I feel all right. I had some aches and whatnot just for a day or so, and now now my voice is getting worse, and I have some congestion and a little bit of cough. So I apologize to everyone who's maybe hearing me in a different tone, but hopefully it's gone. We'll by the time I come out to Arizona, I'll be out in Arizona, obviously, for the Shelly Sharp. And I'm trusting I'll be 100% full health. I go right from Arizona to Singapore and Malaysia, where I'll be there for a weekend, and then I'll go on to the island of Samui for the weekend, and then I go into the mainland of Chiang Mai, mainland of Thailand. I'll be in Chiang Mai, and then when I rush back, it'll be a few days, and then I'll head to do coverage for the Disc Golf Pro Tour All-Stars. So,
oh heck yeah,
it's ready to get back in full swing.
He's a moving man. And then back out here for the Memorial shortly after that.
Yep.
It's
exactly.
This is my time of year with Terry.
Heck yeah. You guys enjoy that nice weather. I'm going to be under 2 feet of snow.
Yeah, I think you've got the same storm rolling through probably that we're my kids had their school canceled a couple days ago, and they've already canceled it for tomorrow.
Yep, same
sort
of
here. About some pretty significant stuff coming through the Midwest. So, good time to be thinking about Arizona, Singapore, Malaysia. Yeah, I'm ready for that.
Oh yeah, I'm so ready for. I mean, I've been eating up all the disc golf guy content while I can.
Good.
Honestly, your channel, like Jomez, is good for like the big events, but I love your channel for off season or like off weeks, or like it's got a more AM feel to it, even if it's not AMs. Like that sounds like an insult.
You can tell there's not 50 dudes running a production truck to get it out. It's
it feels like
what I was talking about last week.
And what I think the vibe of disc golf is, your channel embodies it. Is what I was trying to say.
No, all good.
Not that you're.
Yeah, no, I mean my channel and my coverage has never had all the bells and whistles. I think Jomez, when they came into the game, they saw what me and Central Coast were doing, and then they had a couple of really just insanely talented guys with some graphic design, with some motion, with media. I mean, Jonathan worked cameras before he started his channel. I didn't. And so he really knew what he was doing, and they immediately elevated it, especially when they had put together their graphics packages year after year after year.
Mm-hmm.
And that just shot them up like 6, 8, 10 notches. And we just, at this point, we have such a different business model as well. Like I love that I can be a one-man show and go cover something in Croatia or Thailand or Finland or wherever I've gone. And yes, it doesn't, again, have all the bells and whistles, but it's also far more budget friendly. And it's less of a overall production, and in some ways that's like, I think that reduces stress and price and everything else as well. So I get it. I'm not them. I don't claim to be. They do a phenomenal job.
We wouldn't want you to be either. I think your channel is such a cornerstone of disc golf. Like I wasn't trying to say
all good.
Say but
he's so worried.
No, it is a different feel and a vibe. Yeah, I mean, and truth be told, I think my life and the path would have been very different had we not started Smashbox in 2014 and then become the exclusive live disc golf provider, and I would have dedicated fully to post-production. I think my life and my career would have been on a very different trajectory, like completely different. I to this day spend 20 some weekends a year doing live related events and activities. And then it's kind of like whatever's left over is what goes into my post-production. Jomez and Central Coast and Gatekeeper and GK and all those that have come along never started a live production company. And I'm not ripping on them. I'm just saying like they didn't get sidetracked. And so, my career path took had two very distinct streets to it. And that didn't allow me to dedicate 100% to either avenue. And I often have thought about that. Not that I regret it or would change it, but I do think about like, well, what if I would have exclusively stayed in post-production? Things could look very different potentially, but here we are.
Yeah. And cool. I'm happy you chose the path you did. I think you essentially being the OG disc golf media outlet they're in the same way that everyone in Estonia knows who Kristen Tatar is. Everybody in disc golf knows who you are. And I think, it's, you get into the sport and I would say within 3 months of you researching or finding, before I ever even played, I knew who you were. And that was, I was just watching on YouTube and I found it enjoyable and I was just eating up everything that I could. And so, like I said, being here where we are now and getting the opportunity to work with you and like I said, go to comedy shows with you and that kind of stuff is like, it's great. And I thank my lucky stars every day that things have worked out the way they have. So, damn, I wanted to ask you one more thing and I can't remember what the hell it was.
Same thing we asked Papa Wolf. Do you regret coming on the show?
No. Terry doesn't have regrets.
Terry's like,
so let me ask you guys, what's the plan here? Like you guys 7-8 episodes in.
Yep.
Do you have a vision at all? And I'm not implying that you have to, but do you have a vision, a thought, a plan? What's the goal?
Well, I'm gonna let him answer this one because genuinely, I was supposed to be guest number 1 on this podcast, and then was asked to co-host.
So it's gone downhill since.
Yeah. And well, we do have you on here. Personally, my enjoyment of it is that we don't really.
Yeah.
We very minimally prepare for episodes. And just in 7 and 8 episodes, we've had Jeremy London and you, and like, who the fuck are we that we get that kind of talent to interview and spend time with. And so I'm riding it out right now. But if he has a full vision or whatever, you tell me, Shanked. I'd love to hear it because I'm just here. I'm along for the ride, basically.
Yeah, no, I think it's exactly what Spiicii was saying is like there's not really like a mission statement for this show, right? It's at its conception, it was for AMs by AMs. We are never going to have a professional disc golfer on the show. Former professional, sure, but never like, unless Drew Gibson drops 100 rating points, he can't come on the show. Which maybe, but yeah, it's just it's the same thing as with my account. Is like the people of this sport is what makes up this sport. Like, there's been such a push towards like watching like professional stuff, come to our events, watch live coverage, and people. I'm not saying that it's gone down, but the leagues, the local C tiers, the people that you go play casual rounds with, that's what disc golf is to me, anyways. And this show is supposed to be an embodiment of that in every aspect, including like dead air and awkward questions, and so I think it's for AMs by AMs.
I think it for me, it feels like if we were all out playing around together, the three of us, we would have the same conversation that we are having on this podcast right now. That's kind of the vibe I like to give off, is like, that's how I don't care if I'm dropping F-bombs. If we were out throwing and I hit a tree, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to yell, fuck. I'm just going to do it. It just happens. And so that's very much the feel I like to keep. And who knows? I don't think we ever expected a sponsor. Now we have Great Lakes Disc. We have it. Terry missed the boat on that one.
I didn't see your ad deck. If you would have sent over your ad deck and your rate sheet, I'm going to be possibly jumped on.
I'm going to be hitting you up for some disc in a boxes here pretty soon, because we've got so many damn giveaways. I keep going to the post office and paying for new stuff. So,
oh my God, I'm going to punch you. Stop doing that. That's such a waste of money.
I don't know. Yeah, 4 AMs by AMs, baby.
Anyway.
All right, Terry. Well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you're not feeling the best. We want to let you rest up, but we appreciate you so much for coming and hanging out
on the show.
It's like having a literal disc golf god just traipse in and drop knowledge on you and then disappear again.
All right. Well, I'll lose my number. Well, of course, I'm not gonna try and up, Papa Wolf or anything, but I feel like I should partake in some kind of giveaway. I'll ship it effectively, unlike you. So I might as well just ship it myself, because that would make more sense. I don't know. I randomly grabbed. I don't know. I mean, if somebody puts up a real fight and they want a Samui disc as opposed to this, but I have a Disc Golf Guy stamped. These were kind of a limited run at the time. This is a Disc Golf Guy stamped Essence by our friends over at Disc Mania. We all know who's going there. We should, have another podcast about that for 3 hours. Or not, because I'm sick of it. But here's a Disc Golf Guy custom stamped Essence that I'd like to send out to somebody, or if they say they would much rather have a Samui stamped disc, I don't know, you guys might have to fight for them or whatever, but I'd love to send that out. I've got a couple stickers that we just got ordered up, maybe a mini or two. We've got a nice Smashbox TV sticker done up in kind of that Mario font. How about
bring me one of those for Shelly Sharp?
I'll throw in a Thailand Samui sticker here, and I'll probably find some other stickers and other stuff to give you. How about a mini from Grady and Paige's wedding? Okay, you can't have that one. It says Kobe Geis on it. It's his, but that'd be kind of funny to give you, but you don't get that.
That would be hysterical.
But there's a mini from their wedding. I was a DJ for that. That's another story for another day. Anyway, find a way to do your giveaway. I'm more than happy to mail out.
Thing, right?
What's that?
There's the perfect thing, right? You got to do all the YouTube things.
Yeah, there you go. Do all the YouTubes. Like, share, subscribe, and do all the YouTubes. Do all the YouTube things. And they'll find a way to give this stuff away, and then they'll put me in touch with you. I'll come hand deliver it for the right price. Things could get creepy. Maybe we have dinner. I don't know. Do you like Imperial Stouts? We'll see the night. So, but I'm happy to participate and contribute to what you guys are doing. Seriously, keep doing what you're doing. I love it. I love seeing more people branching out, diving into the scene. There is absolutely a spot for everybody. And I feel like a lot of people feel like, well, so-and-so is doing this and that. Well, it's like, who knows? Just try it. And as long as you love it, and whether you have 7 people or 77 or 7,077, as long as you're having a good time with it, I think that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
Then find a way to sell out and then run. But anyway, when I can make that happen, I will. See you, suckers. That's about it for me. Thank you guys. Seriously, I wish you the best of luck. And if you guys ever need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. Well, Spiicii, don't call me, but Caleb, you can.
Okay, sounds great.
Guess I'll just go fuck myself. All right. Thanks, Terry. We'll let you run, bud.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Good luck with everything.
Pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Mm.
All right, get out of here.
Every time.
Who's this guy?
Like, it's gonna be our traditional hanging loose greeting.
Oh yeah.
And someone get out of here.
Like,
that was great. He's such a good dude, and that's every time pleasure. How's Terry? And I don't get asked that frequently because no one really cares. But when I do get asked, I always I'm like, he's like my favorite person because he could be running a tournament. He's handing out sponsor towels. He's selling hats. He's selling shirts. He's selling discs. But when he sees me, it's Spiicii and a big hug every time. And it just makes me feel like $1 million because like I said, I have imposter syndrome so bad and I don't feel I deserve anything that I ever get. And so to have Terry like at least be willing to put up with me makes me feel awesome. So I always appreciate his.
It seems like a great guy who is just loitering in the green room. I don't know if he can hear us, but he can. Gosh dang it, this guy.
Hey, let him receive the love. I told him we gush about him. What do we want to do for this giveaway? Usually he sets that
see
up.
Dude. I think we just do the I'm kicking him from the studio. Get out of here.
Now we can really rap.
No, I think it's just do all the YouTube things and tell us you did all the YouTube things, and we'll pick someone at random.
Okay, that sounds like a classic for me. I know.
Oh wait, we also have audio listeners. So like, if you're an audio listener, also do the YouTube thing. I don't care if you listen to it on YouTube or not. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do
it. Just leave us a review, rate and leave us a review, and you'll get thrown in the giveaway as well.
That'll work. My beautiful, lovely girlfriend Jillian is dead tired, and if you can't tell, this isn't my bedroom, so I'm gonna get running and let her come upstairs and go to sleep.
By the time you see this, Crunchy's giveaway should be over, and he has DM'd you on Instagram. So,
yes, that's right.
All right, give us a screen.